Hello, everybody, and welcome to my preview of day 3 of the 2023 Cheltenham Festival. It's been an interesting first 2 days. I sit here recording this after my selection. Fun has just been well beaten, to be fair, in the champion bumper, but it's not all about one day and one horse. This is a long-term process. I will always say that. We'll move on to day 3. I'm going to take a look at a few races and then then Steve All Press will be back to give his preview of day 3, and then we will both be back with some selections. So the first race I'm going to take a look at is the Turner's Novices Chase. This looks a very interesting race to me, to be honest. Headed by a horse which will be my selection for the race, Mighty Potter. He's been a revelation this year since being switched to fences. I think the last 2 starts in Grade 1 company in Ireland, I think, will make him a very tough nut to crack. I mean, you look at the horse, he's well bred, 164. He's proven there was a couple of yardsticks already in French Dynamite, who runs later on in the card. And, and Mighty Potter has proven to be a totally different class to them. Brighter Days Ahead is a filly that has only ran in one bumper and is also on the list to follow. If only she ran today, instead. But I do think Mighty Potter will take all the beating in this race, and the price sadly reflects that. Appreciate It, to me, won the Supreme Novices Hurdle a couple of years back and looked useful. But he is one, if people look, that his hurdle form is proved to be at this stage a lot better than his chase form. He hasn't really kicked on at all in his 3 chase starts. That to me makes him a bit vulnerable, I think. But I do think the step up in trip will definitely help him. He's 10 lengths behind the Arkle winner, El Fabiolo, on his last start. Banbridge, to me, was also 10 lengths behind in the same start. He just beat Appreciate It in a photo. And I think Banbridge is a lot more solid proposition than Appreciate It. He's beaten by 18 lengths by Mighty Potter there, but he has won at Cheltenham in the Grade 2 trial that they held in November 2022. So that, him to me, would make him more of a threat, I think, to the favourite. Balco Coastal. I don't think people can fancy that one, really. I mean, you saw it put in its place by Jerry Colombe. Jerry Colombe ran well today in defeat, but I do think Balco Coastal might have a little bit to find. I really do. Stage Star is another one that I think is one in a handicap chase, a class 2 handicap chase in the novice handicap chase by 3.5 lengths. And that somehow has got everybody excited. There's a 4-runner race with Fabulous and Time Hill, I think, with the other 2 runners in that race at Newbury. He was a well-beaten 2-7 favourite that day. And that was him. That was him done, as far as I was concerned. James de Burley is one of my horses. I'm not going to lie to you. He's been campaigned quite strangely, I think. There was a 600-day break between his run there at Auteuil and then March. He did it for over a year and 3 months. And he ran 2 times in hurdles, second behind Classical Dream in the Punchestown Hurdle. And then there was another break there. That might be the 600-day break, sorry, my mistake, between the Stayers Hurdle race and his first chase victory, where he sauntered home in what looked a very moderate race, I must say. He then was thrown in rather at the deep end against Mighty Potter at the Dublin Racing Festival, but they did seem to fancy him, and I can see why. I can see why they did, to be honest. It's a very well bred horse. I mean, there's Goliath de Burley, a stallion in France. They're all solid horses. And this one, James de Burlez, was a group winning hurdler in France before being switched to Ireland. I'm not too sure whether they've got it in the right race. Might have thought they might have gone for the 3-miler with the horse, but they haven't. Not long till May is one I think has plenty to find, unfortunately. It's won its last 3 novice handicap chases, But this is a Grade 1 chase against horses that have ran. Mighty Potter's 149, 161, you see, 164 the time before. Plenty to find anything that hasn't run to around 154.5. Unexpected Party is another one, very poor horse at this level. It's been going round nicely and respectably in races, but it's third behind John Bomb, beaten 24 lengths in a Grade 2 earlier in the season. Christopher Wood's another one, hasn't raced to above his hurdle mark yet. Over fences, you know. I do think that this race is at the mercy of the favourite. You know, it could be one of the good things of the week. I mean, people go on about the champion hurdle yesterday. Of course, that was a superb performance, you know, but then you had Gaillard de Menil in the last. And if people look at the figures of the race, of the horses in there, they have to make a good case for Mighty Potter, I think. James de Burle, well, connections have got balls, I think. That's all I can say, because I might have looked for something a bit easier after my last run, and I hope they are rewarded for their bravery. You know, there's 9 runners. People might be able to get 4 or 5 places somewhere, and I certainly will be having an interest in that horse as well. I'm going to skip forward to the 250 now, the Ryanair Chase, one of the Grade 1 races of the day. And in this race, we have Shishkin. Shishkin has won the Arkle. He's won the Supreme Novices Hurdle. He's beaten the Energumene at Ascot. You know, this is a superb horse. He won the Ascot Chase, beating Pic D'Orhy, who's a good horse, by 16 lengths last time out, running to a magnificent figure of 178. What a superb animal this is. I mean, people are they worried about the trip? Well, they shouldn't be, really. I wasn't worried at all at Ascot. People look at the dam of Shishkin Labyrinth. You see there, the second dam, look, there's hurdlers there, look, 160 rated 3 mile hurdlers, 141 rated 3 mile 5 furlong horses. You know, to me, it was always obvious that Shishkin was going to stay the trip, and he will take all the beating here in this race. Blue Lord to me is an enigmatic horse. I mean, he's never one I've been with, really. He's fallen in the Supreme Novices Hurdle behind Appreciate It. He then looked to have a fantastic opportunity to win another Grade 1 chase last time out at the Dublin Festival, only to be beaten by 7 lengths by Gentleman de Me. I mean, he's not one you can ever have any confidence in, I think. At least the price is fair today. He's not one that I would ever be looking to take a short price about. Janadil beat my horse, one of my horses, Horton Couleur, last time out in a 4-runner Grade 2 race at Gowman Park. The Red Mills Chase. Before that, he'd fallen and been pulled up. So he's a solid horse. Look, if people look at the form, he was second in the race last year behind Allaho. So he has to have some. He has to enter the equations. Really does. Fury Road. Well, this is one of my old favourites, without any shadow of a doubt. I mean, to me, I'm going to open his form up just so we can have a proper look at him. I mean, I've been following him for quite a while now, since he did that in a maiden hurdle in November 2019, running to figures which would win graded hurdles today. He then did well as a graded hurdle, winning a Grade 3 hurdle and a Grade 2 at prohibitive odds. So people have kind of always known. And then he was 4th in a red-hot race at Leopardstown behind Latest Exhibition, and then 3rd, beaten the neck by Monkfish, subsequent Grade 1 winning chaser, and Latest Exhibition in the 2020 Albert Bartlett. He then won the Grade 2 hurdle again at prohibitive odds on, really. And then he was 4th and 2nd in a couple of hurdles of Ireland. Pulled up in the 2021 Stayers hurdle when quite fancied, and then pulled up again at Punchestown. Then the connection seemed to have a little free run for him then when they went novice chasing. He was 3rd behind Beacon Edge in a Grade 1 chase before winning the Neville Hotels Chase, a Grade 1 at Leopardstown in December 2021. He then, a solid horse against good Irish horses, 2nd behind Ahoy Signor in the Mile Main Officers Chase, when frankly the price was ridiculous of the horse. He should never have been that price. and the talent is there. For him to go off that price in any race is dangerous. And he sort of proved that again there, look, in a 7-runner race behind Galopin de Champs, when he's been running to his career best marks in his last 2 races of 162 after winning the Grade 2 chase at Down Royal, which was a nice bonus. But the pedigree of the horse, it's no surprise. I'm going to the pedigree now. People will be surprised, I think, how well bred this horse is when I show you. You've got the dam there, look, Fury Road. Solid enough horses next to him. But Victorine is the dam of City Island. And that one at the Cheltenham Festival, didn't it? Won the 2015 Ballymore. So you've got a Cheltenham winner on the first dam, Cheltenham winner on the second dam as well. Sorry, a Group 1 winner, Fury Road on the first dam, City Island, Group 1 winner on the second dam. If people look at the third dam, you've got Morley Street and Granville again. So it could be argued that Fury Road's not got potential yet, still to improve. He's definitely heading the right way. People look at the chasing records that he's still only rated £3 higher than his hurdle mark. I mean, this is a horse, if people look at the pedigree and the record of the horse. It might not win every time it runs, but there is no doubt that this horse has quality. No doubt whatsoever. And it's been an absolute pleasure to follow him the last 3 and a bit years. And this will be just the icing on the cake if he can do something today in the race, of course, that the sponsors are sponsoring the owners of Fury Road, the Bilderbergers at Gigginstown Stud. But it goes to show what you can find over the jumps if you look. And my selections in the race, we'll go back there before we do this race. I will pick Fury Road each way. Shishkin more than likely will win the race, admittedly. You've got 9 runners here, though, so you're getting at least 3 places. And if people look at the race, you've got Blue Lord, who I don't really fancy, Janadil. You know, people, Envoy Allen is another one. You see that I don't really fancy. Funny old horse. French Dynamite is I probably will have a look, see how many places I can get with him. Mighty Potter, it's a matinee day, isn't it? She sired 4 horses for me this year. 3 horses, and they've all won. This is the only one that I've not backed. I didn't back it when it won at Thurles. You know, it won at 11-4, and I never backed it that day. Since then, it went close at that Cheltenham in one of them handicaps they have. The horse is solid, you know, but Mike is a bit not as good as Mighty Potter though. He's a lot older as well. But yeah, he's another one. G.A. Law. I mean, there's horses in here that you'd think you'd put the best foot forward and capable of good performances. You know, G.A. Law is one of them inconsistent horses that I don't really fancy. People look at the figures; he's got a lot to find with Shishkin. Hitman, frustrating animal. You know, for me, I've never been with the horse, luckily. But he's always fancied. He always goes off quite short. He wins. He wins now and again, but not for me. And Chacun Pour Soi is now 11 years old, and time catches up with all of us humans and horses. And I do think Chacun Pour Soi, if people look at his last 3 runs, is marketably declining, really. He declined by 7 there, and then he declined by 11 there. I mean, the writing will be on the wall. It'd take a brave man to predict a resurgence from Chacun Pour Soi, of which I am not. So Fury Road each way, and I do a massive admirer of Shishkin as well. But on the day at value, would Fury Road be an even money shot to finish in the first 3? That's what you've got to ask yourself. Very interesting race, the Ryanair, sponsored by the Bilderbergers. 3:30 at Cheltenham is the Stayers Hurdle, the feature race of the day. This, to me, was always a race I thought at the start of the season was there for the taking. I'm not with any of the market principles apart from the favourite. Blazing Cow, to me, is another one that's quite a very well-bred horse. It is impossible, really, not to be impressed with his run in the Boyne Hurdle after such a long layoff when he sauntered home by 3 lengths, running to a career best mark of 164. That does leave him a little bit behind Tihapu, the winner of the 2020-22 Hatton's Grace Hurdle. You know, and he did win a Grade 2 at the Galmoy Hurdle as well, over 3 miles. But you see, no guarantee to stay this trip. It's a That's the only time he's run over 3 miles, and this is a stern stamina test. This Blazing Cow, on the other hand, has won over 3 miles already at Cheltenham, last in 2021 at Grade 2 level, and he's also won at Cheltenham in the time before that as well. He's beat subsequent Grade 1 winner both times. Flooring Porter, to me, it could be argued aged 8. If people look at his form, I'm sure he'll have a fantastic go for his connections. I'm sure we'll have another fantastic day. But to me, he might not be the same horse. Home by the Lee has thrived this year. I don't know how he's found the improvement. You see there, look, he was being well beaten at 157, and he's gone into the 160s now with his last 2 runs, where he's beaten Bob Ollinger and then a Grade 1 winner over Ashdale Bob. Classical Dream is another one that's a very enigmatic horse, age 9. Former Supreme Novices hurdle winner on his day, anything. You pay your money and take your chance with him. Gold Tweet, the French horse, might have won a below standard renewal of the Cleve hurdle at Cheltenham earlier, but it's good to see the French come and have a go. Rated 157 though, you see, you've got horses rated 168 of the Irish horses. Got a little bit to find, but I do think one thing you can say about the French horses, I think they will stay the trip. I think there's another one coming on further. Paisley Park, the admirable 11-year-old, inconsistent. He was very good when he won the long walk hurdle, when he beat Goshen, went into 164, a mark that would have been good enough probably to get involved in last year's race. But then he threw in a 155 behind Gold Tweet. That wouldn't be good enough in there. Ashdale Bob, to me, is an interesting horse. I like this horse. I followed the horse for quite a while. I'm going to open him up because I've not given him the credit he deserves, I don't think, in this video. He always runs well at good price. That's the best thing I can say about this horse. He's very slow. I mean that in the nicest possible way, that I see him as more of a 4-mile chaser. He's got some good solid form, look here. I identified him there when he beat Fakira by 6 lengths in December 2020. He then looked as though I might have been wrong there. And then he came back and won a Grade 2 in April 2021. A nice rewarding odds. You'll see, look, very rewarding odds. 10-1 it managed to win there. And since then, really, the horse has been absolutely rock solid. It had a bad spell really over fences. Yeah, it won there. That's when I identified the horse. And its last 5 runs, look, 6 runs, 7 runs, 8 runs. It's gone off at no bigger than 9-2, and it's never been out the first 4. Ashdale Bob, an admirable horse, really, without any shadow of a doubt. But we'll look the pedigree of the horse. It was always going to be decent. But Ashdale Bob, 158, very good horse. But it's not a one-off. That's what you need over the jumps. Look, there's a lot of black type in this family. That one, Glenn's Melody, 153. Even Glenn's Music, rated 140, the damlet, the second dam. Very nice horse, Ashdale Bob. And I wouldn't put anyone off each race, like I said, extra places. But Blazing Cow has to be my main selection of the race. I'm just running through the pedigree of him quickly. We never did it in the session earlier. You'll see there that Blazing Cow at 164, the first 2 dams. You'll be thinking there that Blazing Cow, they've got Blazing Tempo there, won the Galway Plate, I think. Rated 159, that horse. So there was always a fair indicator that there could be a decent horse lurking in there. You're on a Grade 2 chase there, 157. There you go, look, 2011 Galway Plate winner. Game horse. It takes a certain type of horse to win races like that out in Ireland. Big handicap chases, I think. And, so once they get to a certain level, like Blazing Cow had shown, look at his form, look. A certain level. then you know. Oh, sorry, that's the dam. Then you know that they're towards the top end of what the pedigree is. And then it's just a matter of trying to work out what you've got, And then you've got the horse like Leading Duke. If people look at Blaze Gold, they will see that in fact Blazing Cow was quite closely related to Denoli. You see, so it could be argued that Blazing Cow running now to 164. Look at the horse. He's gone up 40 rating points, whatever they are, in 4 starts. They're going to run to 170 tomorrow, you'd think. Possibly. You'd think so, wouldn't you? Is anything else going to be able to beat that? It's a very interesting horse. You've got Denoli, incredible pedigree, really, for a National Hunt horse. And the form of it, coupled with the possibility that there's 171 rated horses under the third dam, means that Blazing Cal has to be one of my selections of the week, really, at the price. You just hope that there's no market weakness on the day. Right, we're going to touch on the 410 quickly. Horton Couleur. I'm hoping here what we could have is a group horse in a handicap. You'll see the ratings. Horton Couleur is a very nice horse. There's other nice horses in there as well. Obviously, it's a very competitive handicap. We're going to look at Horton Couleur, and then another one I'm going to look at is Midnight River quickly. Horton Couleur had the grade 2 at his mercy there. Janadil, as we touched on earlier, is running in the Ryanair Chase tomorrow on the same day. It's arguable that this horse was good enough to run in the Ryanair Chase. Needs to get his head in front, though, soon, and maybe the slight drop down in class to Premier Handicap from a 4-runner Irish Grade 2 race could do the trick. Nice strong pace. Plenty of runners, though. Let's see. He's novice chasing. He didn't really convince me with his jumping, that. It's a tricky horse. It's just one of them horses that could be destined to be unlucky. Midnight River is an interesting one because I actually identified it quite a while back and stuck it on the maybe list when it won here in December 2021. I looked at over 140 and above. Yeah, no, it must have been when it won that race there in February 2021. Novice Hurdle is when I identified it. When it ran to 142, and I thought that could be a nice horse. They never even bothered running it in one level weights novice chase until then. They went handicap straight away. Yeah, and it was moving up the rates, moving up the ratings, look. And they've got it roughly now to where I wanted it to be, where it's good enough to win. Grade 3 handicaps at Cheltenham off 155. It just took a bit longer than I'd have liked. So obviously the horse tended to sort of get forgotten. It's actually quite a well-bred horse, though. If people look, there is some very nice dams on this line. That produced a lot of horses. Maybe not when you start looking at the third dam, Chichella. You get a much better impression of how well-bred this horse is. Plenty of 150 rated horses. Look, Iris Royal, Santa Chene, Gallant Moss. Remember that one for Pipe. But some of the dams, if people click on some of the dams, they'll see that it's not they aren't flukes. We'll click on these two to start off with. Look, there's another one there. Look, 143 rated this year. A couple of years back, Santa Chene was a very good hurdler in France. Mar Royale, look, it's bred 4. Look, they are all decent. So there's always a good chance that Midnight River would be as well, and he's proving it now. And I think at that price, it's incredible that it's a fair price. I don't think it's generous. It's definitely a price I'm willing to chance in a race like this. That they could know that they've got more off a mark of 152. They could know that. If they look at the pedigree of the horse and they've worked the horse properly with another one of their 170 rated horses, then they'd know. And it'll be interesting to see what way this horse goes in the market tomorrow, Midnight River. I really do think that. Right, the next race I'm going to take a look at quickly before I give my selections is the 450. The Mare's Hurdle, Luckier. Seems a hot favourite and justifiably so as well, especially with the rain that's just starting to come. You know, there's been a bit of rain about. She's won on soft ground a couple of times. And she's rated 142, which is considerably higher than anything else in this race by a good 6 or 7. Yeah, she looks to hold obvious chance. There's not much in here that's ran to above 140 like Lucia has, that's for certain. She's beat the Colts as well, last time out by 11 lengths in a listed race at Exeter. But to me, I don't really, I don't really like the pedigree of her enough to chance her in a race like this. It's not my type of horse. Yeah, it's done well on the track, but why is it doing well? You know, what makes it a good horse? I can't work it out. So I tend to just leave horses like that. Lucky Sea Lady, the second dam. It's 103 rated flat horse. To me, this is a flatbred horse more than anything. See the top rated down the third dam rated 109. You know, I could click on these to try and get some hope. Why is it as good as it? You know, reading to me in horse racing is very important. You know, overall's everything. Oh, there you go. There's some more 100 rated flat horses there. Look. Again, 4 flat failures. A couple more flat failures. Lucky is an enigma. You know, why is she as good as them? There's nothing in her family that suggests that she is anything good. You know, so that's to me that makes her vulnerable. Be interesting to see how she goes. To me, I've looked at a couple of these. I'm just gonna. There's some I don't know enough about. You know, so I'm not going to really take any opinions on them at this stage. This is a sort of race where I'll be more to mind to identify the winner. Tell me something girl, for instance, won the race for the other year, and then I followed her after that, much to my misfortune. She didn't prove to be that good. But this is not a race that I tend to use it as a stepping stone to other things, really. So there has to be some sort of evidence somewhere along the line that these horses are better than this race. And I just don't see that with the favourite. Foxy Girl's interesting to me because on that run there, when she was second to Matilda de Burlay in Auteuil, I actually identified the winner that day before the race, and it was a well-bred horse, and it won well. And that run there might be good enough to beat these. I really do think that. But the price of it to me is a massive price on that run. I've looked at a form in Ireland somewhere, and it's not really translated. Pedigree, though, is interesting because you don't have to go far until you find Far West, a horse rated 152 with a decent strike rate. You know, so it's an interesting one, I think, Foxy Girl in this race. Another interesting one, I think, is Out of Under Control. It sauntered in the other day. That race was only 12 days ago. It absolutely sauntered in that day. It never even had a race. Absolutely cantered round. And there's no way of ascertaining that horse's potential on that run. That's for certain. So the question we need to ask ourselves is, does the Irish gambler know how good his horse is? And if so, is that price going to shorten a bit tomorrow to indicate to us that they do fancy it? The pedigree of the horse is from a stout Aga Khan family, solid rather than spectacular recently. It sort of gets better the further back you go. I don't know what that says about modern breeding. You've got a 100 rated flat horse there in the second dam. The third dam we're into the 110s, 109s. One thing I never did last time is click these. See what the Aga Khan's mares that are winning pattern races are producing. You see Dal Tyre, there's a 115 rated horse there. Look, Dal Kala in 109. So it's a decent enough flat line back in around 2010. Dalgo, I remember that one. Wasn't a very good horse. But so you see that there's some that have been about. That one there has only bred one horse. Then you've got Del Tama as well. You've got 150 rated jump source there. Just what we wanted to see. Look, Dawalan with a 33% strike rate. If Henderson must remember that horse. He seems to be the man that remembers every horse that he's trained when he interviews him. If he knows how good that horse could have been remembered. And then you've got Daylami and Dalakani, look. And a 150 rated hurdler. So if this horse has somehow gone through the generations and is there, then it has a fantastic chance in this race. But there's no way it wins at that price. I don't think it's going to have to constrict for Ireland's biggest gambler to think it's got a chance. Fascinating race. I always enjoy this race. This year, I don't think it's the strongest renewal, if I'm honest, moving forward, apart from a couple. There's no ones that I've seen. There's no real obvious ones. I'll touch on the Model Kingdom. That was another one I'd followed when it was in bumpers, really. It ran quite well. But the horse is related to horses rated 140, 150 in the family, second, third, and dam. And it's still going round in the 130s, It's only 6.5 lengths behind Impere Pass when it won last time out. But Impere Pass won easy. That is a big price, I think. The rest of them I'll watch go round and watch them develop, I think. Very interesting race, though, moving forward, normally for me, this. Especially with the mares' chases coming in. Because a lot of these might be future chases. They might want a lot further. They might, got to watch this race now. It's a very pivotal race in the next 3 or 4 years. You'll see, I think, if someone was to write these down and come back to them in 4 or 5 years' time, I bet you get a lot of graded winners out of them. Jatara is one that I noticed earlier. That's related to Jet, a classic example of the sort of horse I was on about. Jet is a 3-4 mile chaser and related to Jeski that won the Stayers Hurdle, 25 to 1. It's only got 9 to find with Lucker on its run behind Ashrow Diamond. It also chased home a horse good enough to run in the Supreme called High Definition and has beaten Lily de Burley in a National Hunt flat race. Lily de Burley was second behind Fun 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 in a Grade 2 and won back-to-back run-ins of the £59,000 bumper that they run in Ireland. There's some very nice horses in this line that I will be watching and see what the market makes of them. But moving on to my selections for the day now, I think in the 130, I'm going to give to win the race, Mighty Potter. I know he's very short. Races like this, people just need to be sensible. Look at the form and go from there. Look at their bankroll, and it's a risky bet. Any bet is risky. Any bet is risky, of course. Do I think the horse will win this race? Yes, but I thought the other four would win, and none of them have. Nobody knows everything, least of all me. I know that. I learn every race I watch. James de Burley would be a very risky multi-place bet. I wouldn't. Connections to me must have balls of steel to run that horse tomorrow. I think. To me, it's just screaming out 2 runs after 600 days. Ease it in, Grade 3, Grade 2. But no, they come back for more, and they deserve credit for that. And I'll back it anyway, because I'll be following the horse anyway, because I do like the horse. Fury Road, each way against a worthy favourite in Shishkin. Shishkin is short. I've never really liked betting short price horses, never have done. I remember reading a book when I was a teenager by a man called Alan Potts, not the owner of horses, a professional gambler. He wrote a book and he said 2 to 1. Don't back anything under 2 to 1 ever and you'll do all right. And to be honest, I don't think he's far wrong. In the Stayers, 3:30, Blazing Cow. Hopefully, it won't be weak in the market because I think it's my horse of the week. I'm really looking forward to this horse. In the YouTube videos that we've done, it's the only horse I've identified that is running outside of novice company or in bumpers. It's the furthest down the line. It's won twice at Cheltenham. Well-bred horse related to Denoli. What more could anybody want? Ashdale Bob, each way. I'm going to take each way if I can extra places because the horse has just been so solid for me. For a minute there in his last run against home in the league, I thought he was going to win. But it goes back to what I say. In the nicest possible way, the horse is so slow that if they can somehow get this horse jumping and running in these 4 mile chases, I would be fascinated to see how he would go in then. But that's all for further down the line, hopefully one day. 4:10. I'm going to give a couple of each way selections here, very small stakes in what is an ultra competitive race, is how we'll be doing. It's not a single 1 day process for me, this. Slow and steady accumulation is hopefully the way forward. Obviously, Horton Colours each way could easily be proved to be a group horse in a handicap. And if he comes to the last on the bridle, jumps it and goes away, the whole world will say, well, why were we not on that? All they had to do was watch his run when he sadly didn't clear the last against Janadil. Midnight River, slow but steady progression. Has he been named at the race by the Skelton? I will chance him each way and find out. And then, last but not least, in the 450, very small stakes again this race, just for interest, to maintain my interest in these horses moving forward, really, because I try and monitor the moving forward of every horse I have an interest in for at least 2 or 3 or 4 runs. If they run in the right sort of races, ideally non-handicaps. Under Control is definitely got to be one. Is that called Under Control or Out of Control? I've got to be careful there. Under Control. Very good, strong Aga Khan family. I like the family. And if Ireland's biggest gambler shows any confidence in it whatsoever, that'll be good enough for me. And Foxy Girl in the same race with extra places each way. I do think there is enough in her pedigree, coupled with her run behind Matilda Duberlet, to give her some sort of optimism. All right, that's my selections for the day then. I will now hand over to Steve Allpress. Can I just say thank you very much to Steve for doing the preview of the day earlier. And now I will say goodbye to everybody, because I know Steve pre-records his segments. I will also say goodbye on behalf of Steve. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Good luck, everybody. Have a fantastic day. The last 2 days have been good. I always enjoy racing with good quality. But it's about time the cream started rising to the top, I think, now, after 2 days. So we'll see how we get on. All right, take care, everybody. You look after yourselves.